is there someone you would really love to interview one day?
Wow, I would have to say, and this will be an odd choice,
Sure.
but one individual I definitely like to interview would be Alan Moore.
Okay.
And I say Alan Moore because he's actually one of my favorite comic book creators,
Sure.
and I think he revolutionized, because I'm a comic book fan myself. So I think he revolutionized the industry back in the, I would say back in the late '70s, late and mid to early '80s. And things, and he really just did a lot with Watchmen, with Swamp Thing, with Top Ten, with Supreme, and he kind of kept a low profile in the '90s, but now he's back doing more creator-owned books. So if I had to admire anybody that I would like to interview, I know it seems like an odd choice, but Alan Moore, for all that he's accomplished in the literary world, would be someone I'd like to interview. If he ever come out of Northampton, he never leaves Northampton, England, So, but
That's awesome. And speaking about comics,
yes,
every year in Orlando here we have a convention,
yes,
and MegaCon is the one that's coming up. Are you
and I'll
going to
be
attending?
attending. I attend every year faithfully.
Fantastic. Do you dress up?
Yes, I'll be going this year as Luke Skywalker.
No way. Excellent. Very cool. Going back to Orlando, what is your earliest experiences of Orlando here?
Wow, my earliest experiences. Um, I would have to use the church angle
Yeah,
again.
sure.
It's being in the church. I grew up for a little while back in St. John, Orlando, where I served as youth pastor. But it was seeing a lot of the activism of the older members of the clergy in the area, particularly W.D. Judge and Reverend Dr. Fred L. Maxwell and Dr. Arthur Sims, and seeing their activism. I mean, these were men of God, as you say, that came from the civil rights era and understood the struggle, and have probably seen things that if we live 100 years, we probably would not see, and thank God we won't see, obviously. But the things that they experienced and the way that and the temperament by which they took to life is what I've learned to admire at an early age. Just being maybe 2 feet tall and seeing these 6'5" men that just understood the world and understood it on another level is what inspired me. So that's what I would say would be my earliest coherent memory.
Excellent. Now, having grown up in Orlando
Sure.
and thinking about the future, as we had discussed, where would you like to see Orlando in the future?
I would like to see Orlando, and it's already getting there right now. I'd like to see Orlando be a bit more progressive, a bit more productive, and I would like to see Orlando become. We're already a business-driven culture in Orlando, but I would like us to be magnified as an even more business-driven culture. I mean, to the point that a lot of the older elites in business are able to reach back to the younger, up-and-coming entrepreneurs in business. Because right now, and I always say, and I was joking with a buddy about this the other night, that there's this attitude in business in Orlando that I've got mine and I'm going to make sure that you don't get yours, and I want there to be a steady communication in that progression. I want there to be a steady communication between the older business generation and the younger business generation, because they're going to meet whether we like it or not. And also they're going to have to deal with each other whether we like it or not.
Sure,
So
sure.
I would like to see them communicate and be more cohesive. And also I would like to see Orlando become more of a purpose-driven city,
Okay.
not just advocating social causes, like, for example, and not to lambast the Occupy Wall Street movement or the Tea Party movements, but we've got to have movements with purpose, movements with action behind them. It's one thing to draw on a cardboard sign and just hold up a sign and stand in front of cars and block traffic, but what are we accomplishing at the end of the day? If we're blocking people from actually getting to their purpose, which is that job, or which is that ministry, or which is that voting booth, or which is that picking their child up to take their child to a library or to some other activity that's going to benefit them, then we're holding up progress. So a movement should be what it is. It should get on the move, and we should have action. So I want Orlando to be, number one, a purpose-driven city, and I want Orlando to be a city of action, to where we're not just mindlessly chasing caveats or activities. We're actually chasing and committed to success.
You mentioned libraries.
Sure.
What have you noticed within our community, as in terms of the library? How has it enhanced people's lives?
Wow, it's enhanced people's lives in many ways. Number one, you've got 1,000 resources at your disposal, and then number two, I love how we're bridging the gap with technology and with obviously the devices that are already in place. Obviously, as I gave the analogy about the bridge before, this is a prime example of the bridge. Right now, the library books can be viewed as what was the beginning of the bridge. but they're just your compass to continue to get you over to the other side. So I love seeing up-to-date computers in libraries, because that's a plus. You wouldn't believe the libraries I've been in where I'm like, oh man, they're still operating like that. But I love seeing up-to-date libraries. I love seeing seminars at libraries. I love seeing authors and writers and reporters and editors and motivational speakers coming in and talking to the youth.
Sure.
You know, so that's always good. I think the library is a prime place to be an activism center, so I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the work that Orange County public libraries are doing, whether it's downtown, whether it's this branch, whether it's the one in the Waterford Lakes Plaza. So.
Yeah, because you do live in Orlando. We have 15 locations. Which one
Correct.
do you go to most often?
Well, it's two. It's a toss-up
Sure.
between two at this moment. I either go Orange County Public Library downtown,
Yeah, yeah.
or I'll go to the one in the Waterford Lakes Plaza.
Excellent.
And things, and I often go. Sometimes I'll check out books. Sometimes I'll spend an afternoon researching. You know, sometimes when the internet just doesn't do it, I'll
Sure.
spend an afternoon researching. So it's a toss up between those two.
Now, I want to open the time
Sure.
now for you. What would you like to mention? Anything about yourself? Anything about Orlando? Any more parables or anything you'd like to share with everyone?
Sure, I'd like to, for a moment, just go back to the bridge
Yes.
seminary, and I just want to point out three things that the bridge
Please.
showed me. You know, preacher, got to give you points. That when I was crossing that bridge long ago, number one, that the bridge is necessary. A bridge is something that we all have to cross,
Absolutely.
whether we like it or not, whether it's our calling or not, whether we feel that we're tall enough or smart enough or bright enough or not. And then number two, the bridge is navigable. There's no difficulty in the bridge. There's only the difficulty in your mind when crossing the bridge. So when we change our mind states, we'll be able to cross more bridges than we thought possible. And then the third thing that I saw when crossing the bridge was that the bridge is now. It's now or never. You know, and it reminds me of something that you asked about, where do I see Orlando? I see Orlando becoming a town of now. You know, we can't wait another day. We can't wait another night. We can't wait another election. We got to be a city of now. So it shows me that the bridge is now, that we got to cross now, that it's right in front of you, so what are you going to do? And so that gives me an opportunity as a reporter, and that's why I enjoy it. My only regret at this point is that I didn't start earlier in the industry when I was maybe 14 or 13, but, you know, I started at 17, so that's pretty good. But it gives me an opportunity to not have a homogenous lifestyle. And I mean by seeing the same people over and over again. I get to manage different situations on a daily basis, different personalities, what have you, on a daily basis. And to me, that's growth, because change doesn't come in comfort, it comes in inconvenience, as we all know. Right. And that's generally the often goal. You know, a lot of people get into make money overnight, you know, but sometimes you may love overnight money, but overnight money doesn't love you. You know, so I think if we get in with the intention to make a difference, that difference in our lives will be that much greater.
I want to thank you deeply from Orange County and from the Orlando Memory Project. Thank you for giving your time and opportunity to speak to us today and to share your insight and your personal experiences. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Rashad.